Admiral Zekthara's four eyes never blinked simultaneously, a nervous habit that had served him well during his 3 centuries of military service. But today, as he stared at the tactical display showing the complete abandonment of the Kepler defense grid, all 4 eyes remained frozen, wide open. "Explain this to me again," he demanded, his chitinous exoskeleton clicking with agitation. An entire star system's worth of defensive platforms, 17 battle fleets from 6 different species and over 3 million personnel, all gone in 12 standard hours. Captain Vorth, a crystalline whose translucent body shimmered with anxiety, projected the timeline holographically. "It began at Station Omega 7, sir. Long-range deep space monitoring post, mostly automated, skeleton crew of 43 beings from various coalition species. And," Zekthara's mandibles twitched, "and 1 human." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Throughout the coalition, humans had become something of a myth, a species so unpredictable, so irrationally dangerous, that most civilized worlds preferred to pretend they didn't exist. They'd appeared on the galactic stage barely 2 centuries ago, and in that short time had managed to end 3 major wars simply by showing up. The human was a communications specialist, Vorth continued, his crystalline form flickering between colors of unease. "Lieutenant Sarah Chen. She'd been stationed there for 6 months without incident. Exemplary service record, actually. But at 0347 hours yesterday, she sent a single transmission through the emergency broadcast network." "What did she say?" Vorth's form darkened to a deep amber, the crystalline equivalent of a gulp. She whispered, "They know we're here." Admiral Zekthara felt his secondary heart skip a beat. That's all?" "That's all, sir." 3 words, barely audible. The recording lasted 1.7 seconds, but within minutes the Arachnoid Third Fleet was powering down their weapons and requesting immediate reassignment to the Outer Rim. The gaseous collective's entire atmospheric defense grid went dark. By hour 4 we had mass evacuations across 12 systems. The Admiral's claws scraped against his command chair. He'd heard the stories, of course. Every military officer in the coalition had. The Battle of Proxima Station, where a single human squad had held off an entire Dominion invasion fleet, not through superior firepower, but by doing something so utterly insane that the enemy had retreated in terror. The Venusian incident, where a human diplomat had ended a century-long war by suggesting a solution so simple, yet so catastrophically dangerous, that both sides had immediately signed peace treaties rather than risk humanity implementing it. "Sir," Vorth continued, his form now cycling through rapid color changes, "we've received reports from across the sector." The message spread through military channels faster than our containment protocols could manage. Everyone's asking the same question. If the humans are worried enough to send a warning, what exactly did they discover? Zekthara pulled up the strategic display, watching in real time as more fleets abandoned their positions. The Molten Hierarchy's famous Iron Wall formation was dissolving. The ethereal collective's phase shift patrol lines were vanishing into hyperspace. Even the notoriously stubborn Silicon Brotherhood was pulling back from the frontier. Has anyone actually asked the human what she meant? That's the problem, sir." Vorth's form flickered to a sickly green. Lieutenant Chen has gone completely silent. Her commanding officer tried to reach her, but she's locked herself in the communications array. The only response they've gotten is a single text message, "Maintaining radio silence. Trust me." The Admiral felt his tertiary nervous system begin to tingle, a survival instinct that had kept his species alive for millennia. If a human was maintaining radio silence and telling people to trust her, it usually meant something terrible was about to happen. Or had already happened and nobody knew it yet. "Pull up the deep space sensor logs," he ordered. "Everything from the last 72 hours. The holographic display shifted, showing the vast emptiness of space beyond the coalition's borders. Sensor sweeps, gravitational anomalies, subspace disturbances, all the usual background noise of the universe. Then Zekthara saw it, or rather didn't see it. "Vorth," he said quietly, "am I reading this correctly? Sector 7G showing complete sensor blackout?" "Yes, sir. We assumed it was equipment malfunction, but for 3 days." The Admiral's voice rose to a screech. "A 3-day sensor blackout in the same sector where our human communications specialist suddenly starts whispering warnings about them knowing we're here." Captain Vorth's crystalline body went completely transparent. the equivalent of fainting while still standing. "Sir, are you suggesting—" "I'm not suggesting anything," Zekathara snapped. "I'm stating a fact. If humans are scared enough to whisper warnings and maintain radio silence, then we have approximately," he consulted his chronometer, 6 hours before something horrific emerges from that sensor. Blackout. The Admiral began typing, commands with all 4 manipulator arms simultaneously. General evacuation order. All coalition forces to fall back to the core worlds immediately. Maximum burn. No delays. "Sir, shouldn't we wait for confirmation? Maybe try to establish what the actual threat is?" Admiral Zekathara paused in his typing and looked directly at his subordinate with all 4 eyes. "Captain, in my 3 centuries of service, I've learned one universal truth that transcends species, technology, and space-time itself. When a human whispers a warning, you run first and ask questions later. The ones who stop to ask questions don't usually live long enough to hear the answers." Within an hour, the great exodus had begun. Ships of every conceivable design streaked away from the frontier at maximum velocity, leaving behind empty space stations and abandoned defense grids. Lieutenant Sarah Chen remained in her communications array, maintaining perfect silence, watching her instruments with patient human eyes as something vast and hungry stirred in the darkness between the stars. And in the deepest levels of Coalition Command, emergency protocols activated systems that hadn't been used since first contact with humanity. Systems designed not to fight whatever was coming, but to beg the humans very, very politely to make it go away.